Hey everyone, welcome back to Alex and Networking. Today I'm just going to be doing a small follow-up video to the Radius cert-based authentication or 802.1x cert-based authentication WPA2 enterprise video that I did. This is going to be a short follow-up to that. I wanted to go into how you configure dynamic VLANs for different groups. I thought I had that configured before. In that video I didn't, so I wanted to do this follow-up video for everybody. So today's video is going to be how to configure dynamic VLANs for your different groups and how they are authenticating to ISE. So let's just go ahead, let's get right into it. So if you go in your ISE server, let's expand that up a little bit, and you go to your, so what we want to do here is under our policy sets, if we expand this out a little bit, our authorization policies here. So we want to change this profile to configure this to say if they match this criteria and they pass authentication, this is what we want to assign them. So we're going to be sending an access accept, and along with that access accept back to the AP, we're also going to be sending the VLAN that these users should be on. So if we go under our work centers and we go under network access and then policy elements, under results or authorization profiles, you'll need to create a profile here. So you would click the add button. This is the configuration for this authorization policy. So I've just named it VLAN 24. This is the VLAN that I'm going to assign users when they authenticate with that certificate that we pushed out in the last video. This is where you can be doing this dynamically for your different groups. So you have, for example, you might have accounting groups, you might have engineering groups, IT. All those different groups should be segmented on their own VLANs for network segmentation. So when that user joins, we want to put them on a specific VLAN. So when we accept them to join the network, we're sending the access accept along with the correct VLAN ID. Very easy to configure that. You're just going to come down here under VLAN and then put in the VLAN number that you want to assign to this specific group. So in this case, we're doing VLAN 24. And then when we come back to our policy set, we configure that authorization profile with our policy here. So this is very basic. I just have one. They're just accepting their certificate based on the common name, and then they get assigned to VLAN 24. So in your environment, every user is not going to have the same certificate. The users are going to get pushed a certificate when they check into the AD server based on whatever group that they should be in. So we need to have multiple policies here. So if we go under our policy authorization policy, we'll need to create an authorization profile for each one of those groups and then put those in the specific order that they should be executed in. So basically, just like an ACL, going to the most specific authorization profile down to the most generic one. So we match going top to bottom. You should always keep the default deny at the bottom. So our default deny access here at the bottom. Once we have all of those configured, you'll basically just be creating additional authorization policies and then setting the VLAN, the correct profile. So IT VLAN 25, that would be configured next. Same conditions, we would match that to our VLAN 25 profile in that case. We would also need to adjust our authentication policies to also accept the different certificate requirements that we need. So if we're doing different subject names, alternate subject names, or you're doing different users, you need to create their own authentication policies and then match those to your VLAN profiles. Pretty simple to do. And then if we come over to the Meraki side of things, you'll just need to configure the radius attribute for filter ID, configure radius override, and save. As always with the cloud pushing down configurations, wait a minute or two to connect. I'm going to, so before I connect, just to specify here, so like I said in the previous video, VLAN 22 is the default tag for this VLAN. So if I authenticate to this SSID, by default, I'm going to be put on VLAN 22 unless ISE overrides that and tells the AP to put me on a specific VLAN. So by default 22, if this works correctly, we should see my client join and be put onto VLAN 22. So let's go ahead and test that out. I'm going to forget the SSID. Get that over here. So go ahead and forget this. And then I'm going to rejoin back. Radius test. Pass the correct certificate. Go ahead and trust the cert from ISE. And then this updates automatically. You shouldn't need to refresh the page at all. Just give this a minute or two and you can see it just updated. This is my MacBook Pro. We just joined successfully to Radius Test and you can see that we are now on VLAN 24. So this is pretty common. This is something that you should be doing in your environment for network segmentation. You can also do this based on, instead of just setting a specific VLAN, you can also put them into specific group policies into Dashboard itself. So let me go ahead and get into that one quickly now. So let's go into the configuration of setting group policies to assign to specific devices that connect. So pretty easy. It's very similar to what we did before. So the first thing that we're going to go to is our work center, and we're going to edit that authorization policy. So come down to results, authorization profiles, click on VLAN 24 in this example. So instead of using the VLAN common task here, we're going to come down to the Airspace ACL name, and you'll type in the group policy name that's configured in Dashboard here that we want to assign to the users. It's very important here. This needs to match exactly to how the name is configured in Dashboard, including capitals and any spaces or anything. So this needs to match exactly to what is configured in Dashboard. Coming over to Dashboard now, under network-wide group policies, you would configure your different group policies here. I pre-configured this one. I named it corporate users. You can see it matches exactly how it's configured in ISE. And this is the pretty cool part. You can get really granular on what the policies that are attached to these specific groups or users here. So you can set specific bandwidth limits for these users. You can set specific firewall rules if you want to bypass the rules and allow access to anything. You can do that here. You can give them specific umbrella policies to attach to them. So this gets you really granular rule sets over your different users and groups. For wireless, we can assign the VLAN tag to these users here. So you would click this down to tag VLAN. We're going to tag on VLAN 24 like we did before. You can also bypass splash pages as well if you wanted to. So we don't want to present a splash page to these users. And then we can come under security here. So we can give them specific URLs that they're able to reach, content categories. We can override what's configured on the network by default, and then you would click Save Changes to save this. And then on the access control portion, so wireless access control, one simple change that we need to make here. So before, when we were just sending a VLAN tag, we had it on filter ID. We'll need to change that to Airspace ACL name and save that. That's all that we need to do for the configuration. So I'm going to go ahead, forget the network, and then join back. Now let me go ahead and join back again. Okay, trust the cert again. And you can see that we joined successfully. You can see we joined 23 seconds ago. We were on radius test. You can see that we are on the correct VLAN, VLAN 24. And then if you come under network-wide clients, I guess we could have just gotten to this from the AP page. We're just going to go into the client details, so you could just click it right there on that page that we were just on, or network-wide clients. Find my device. And this is what we're looking for here. So my 802.1x policy, you can see that we were correctly assigned to the group corporate users. Lastly, if we come back down to network-wide group policies, you can see that now this policy is affecting one user. It was set via 802.1x. And you click on that, and that will give us our device that is assigned to this policy, which is my MacBook Pro. That's going to do it for this video. So just to recap, this is the follow-up from the cert-based authentication for Wi-Fi. We configured dynamic VLANs from ISE, and we also configured dynamic group policies to attach to clients who are authenticating to ISE. This is going to be really useful for getting really granular access control rules down to your clients and setting specific scenarios that they want them to go through. So a lot of times, like, you don't want to present a splash page to corporate users, so you can bypass that. So this is extremely useful. Again, something that we see very commonly, but running into a lot of trouble on the configuration side. So very easy to go through these configurations. So like all my videos, if you run into this yourself, then go ahead and leave a comment in the video. This is a sharing community. We want to be sharing our knowledge with our fellow network engineers, setting everybody up for success. So thank you for everyone joining the channel. Thank you for sticking through this, and happy networking.